Hey guys, Dennis here. Want to do a video for you. Hope you are doing well. Just sitting here outside, um, enjoying nature. I think it's important to do that regularly. It's one of the things that I have personally listed as a goal. One of the goals moving forward. I think it's important to do that. To kind of get away from productivity and the grind and the work, and come to a place where you can clear your mind, you can be on your own, you can reflect on what you're doing, what you got going on, stuff like that. And just get fresh air, be in nature. I think we have nature around us all the time, and it's easy to not really pay attention to it. It's one of those things you can look at but you don't see, because it's around all the time, and if you're not focused on it, you'll miss it. But something I highly recommend. So come out here regularly in different places just to get fresh air, be in the sun, just hang out, But I want to do a video on something that I think is important. I'm actually reading a book. I've known about the book for quite some time. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And wanted to do a video on this particular topic because I think it's so important. And there's lots of good books out there, tons of good books. And I think messages are always good. The right message is always good, but it's even better when you're in a place in life when you can receive it, when you're ready to receive it based on where you're at and what you need. So sometimes you'll read a book that's like, man, this is exactly what, I've been thinking about or dealing with for a long time, or this is what I've been thinking and this is what I needed, type of thing. So the message of the video is to be what I call a watcher. And the message of the book, I think, while many books have messages that are maybe not for everyone based on where they're at, I think this is a message that most, if not all, people can benefit from, because it's something that we pretty much deal with on a regular basis. And if you're not aware of it, you'll live your life a certain way, missing some opportunities to see things differently. So the book is amazing. It talks about being a watcher, and when I think about that, it allows me to get back into what it's teaching and kind of make that present, put it right at the forefront of my mind in different situations. But I encourage you to read the book, but not only for the sake of the book, but I think being what I consider a watcher is amazing. It's kind of like a third perspective. Let's say you're playing a video game, right? And there's lots of different perspectives in a video game, different views, but it's kind of like playing a video game in third person, where you can see yourself playing the game, but you're outside of yourself, which is pretty interesting. To be a watcher of your own emotions, your own thoughts, your own feelings in your body. Let's say you're in a situation where you feel tense, and situations that will typically make you feel tense, you might feel like a knot in your stomach or something like that, and that there's a pattern behind that. Instead of going into these situations and just dealing with them internally, personally, and thinking there's something wrong with you, or just like stressed out or having anxiety over things in different situations, and you just looking at it from your perspective as this is something like you're dealing with and it's personal to you, it's almost like stepping back from yourself and being able to watch your own thoughts and emotions and analyze and process your feelings separate from you. And the key here is to not identify with your thoughts and emotions and your feelings and your patterns, because at the end of the day, that's not who you are. It's just programming based off of how you've, your environment, how you've been raised, your experiences, your beliefs, and things like that go forming you over time. And some things will work in your favor, some things don't. And I think the importance of being able to step away from yourself in any situation and realize, you know what, this isn't me. I'm not going to identify with this. And you can kind of look at a situation or thoughts and emotions as separate from you. And you can see yourself as kind of a third person in a situation. It's weird to watch yourself. So something will happen and you'll have a thought come up and you're thinking about something and you're like, huh? And you're like watching yourself think this and you're stepping away. And you're like, where did this come from? Or where's this programming coming from? Or why am I thinking this way? Why do I feel like this? And instead of you just being in this one perspective that most people are at in life, and just seeing things from that one area, that one viewpoint, like it's personal to you and that's who you are, you can disconnect from that permanently and be able to step back and watch everything separately from yourself. It's almost like watching a movie. And this is super powerful because it's something that's not taught, and I think that's something that everyone can utilize. I was actually speaking with someone very recently who I was talking to about this, actually, and he put it in another way, and I've heard this before, but when he brought it up, it was great because he put it in a different way that a lot of people could receive it. So let's say someone gives you negative feedback or something on anything, and if you're the type of person that's going to internalize that, take that personally, that'll throw you off. You might get mad and upset or flustered. You might be thinking about it for a couple of hours. You'll take it personally because it was directed towards you. But it's almost like taking control of that pattern, that habit, thinking that everything was directed to you, and internalizing that. It's like you take what someone said and you put it in a ball, and you take it away from you, separate it from you, and you put it in a ball, and you place that ball in the middle of a table. And now you can watch the ball, and you can look at the ball from different angles, and it's like it never touched you directly. It was always external. You put it on the table, and now you're watching it. And this is huge because it helps you understand what I'm talking about by visualizing what I'm saying. So it's like a different dimension of living, really, and a way different level of awareness. The ability to not identify with many things, with who you think you've been all this time, or if you feel like you have issues and internal problems, like it allows you to disconnect from that identity that you have of yourself that hasn't been serving you. You can disconnect from that, and you can choose to process it and analyze it separately from yourself. And I've never actually mentioned this, but I think it's pretty interesting. People think that, their arms and their legs and their body and their mind is who they are. And I want you to think about this for a second. If I was to take someone else's arms and someone else's legs and put them on your body instead, does that make you someone else? Does that other person's body parts now make them you, or are you them? No, because we are not our bodies and we are not our minds. We are separate from that. And if you believe in an afterlife, that's kind of what that means, right? You're a physical entity, but you're not really the physical body. You're something separate that even if the body died, you'd still be alive. And that's the key, because you can then understand that, and that's going to help you understand what I'm talking about. That you're separate from your body, you're separate from your mind. So don't identify with things that don't serve you and have only been put there without your awareness, right? It's hard to remove programming over the years that you weren't aware it was being put there. And typically you'll run your life on the subconscious mode, and that's going to basically determine all of your thoughts and your reactions and how you process things. If you can disconnect from your thoughts, your emotions, and understand that that's not you, you can look at this and say, okay, this person said this or did this to me and I got all pissed off. And analyze that like a behavior that you just took it, you put it into a ball and you put it in the center of a table and you're watching this behavior now. And you can watch yourself do this almost like you were watching someone else, like it's external from you. And now it's not personal to you. Now you're looking at it from a perspective that's beyond yourself because you're looking at yourself react. That's the key. And now, because it's separate from you, it doesn't affect you as much. But the key is if you don't know how to process things, it'll affect you more and you're going to internalize it. So this is something that's been helping me. And once you kind of realize this, you live in a different like dimension. You become a watcher, which the book also mentions, where you're watching yourself. You're watching how others react. You walk into a room and you see things differently. You're in the room, but you're not part of the room. You can manipulate your own mind and emotions because you can see them coming, you can feel them coming, you can look at your different thoughts and know that those aren't yours. Those are a result of programming. And you can change your programming because now you ultimately understand that you are running based off of a program. And if you understand that you're running off a program, you can change your own programming. I think that's what makes us humans and not machines. We can understand our own programming. We can reprogram ourselves. But I think that's something that's very, very interesting. And if you've never read the book, I highly recommend you do. You'll start picking that up in the beginning of the book. But I think it's amazing. It falls in line with at least who I am and who I've always been. But it puts things into a perspective to where you're just operating in the world and you're not attached to things. It allows you to be detached from outcomes and people and circumstances. And that's a huge key to happiness, I think. When you're too attached to things, how things happen, if things happen, when things happen, with who things happen with, it's just you're like the water that's right here. I don't know if you can see it. It won't move it around. You're like the water. You're not in control. You go where the water takes you, right? And that's dangerous. So, because you're not in control. So the whole point of it is, self-mastery. Self-mastery's the goal, because that's how you truly enjoy life, when you can disconnect from the worldly things and the programming that you've been dealing with since you were a baby. The programming starts the moment you come out of your mother's womb. So understanding that you are a program, you can change your programming to something that serves you. You can detach yourself from things and people and stuff, and you can come out here and enjoy stuff. This is part of why I start coming out and spending time in nature, because I understand that happiness now comes from somewhere else. It doesn't come from being attached to materialistic things and progress and goals, very worldly goals and stuff that'll keep you unhappy all the time. If you can come out to somewhere like this and sit outside and enjoy the sun and the breeze and nature and stuff, and start finding your happiness in that, reprogramming yourself, you'll be more in control of yourself and your own life, your own circumstances, and you'll be your own independent person, your independent entity walking among the earth, detached from things. You'll be in the world, but not of the world, essentially. So hope you got something out of that. Highly recommend you pick up the book. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.